Okay, so we're going to start. Just a reminder, there's some surveys on the table. When you're at the end of the presentation, make sure you fill them out and hand them out to the person at the door. Okay, so we're going to start. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for coming.
It's a separate wireless network if you're doing anything.
Thank you. My name is Israel Martinez. I'm a product manager at DNN Corp. I've been with the company for almost 3 years, and so far it's been a pretty amazing ride. It's rare to find a company that grows and evolves and changes so much and so fast, and being in the front line is definitely an amazing experience. Today it's a day that I've been looking forward for many months, because it's the first time we can come out and publicly talk about DNN 7. And well, when I say that this project has been on for months, it may not sound like a lot. There is a lot. When you have a team working in Australia, China, Spain, Ireland, the West Coast, the East Coast, and in Canada, and you have emails and phone calls and everything going on at 24/7 for many months, there's a lot happening there. There's a lot of new features. There's a lot of changes in the product. So just a little bit of history. July 2011 was a very special day for DNN. That is the day that we released DNN 6. With that release, we went out to the world and we said, we're embracing UI UX. If you have been following DNN for the last few years, you probably know that in the past we used to put all of our efforts in functional requirements and not so much into emotional requirements. So with DNN 6, we did a shift. We said, now we care about emotional requirements. We care about how our users feel about the software, about how they feel when they're walking through the different flows of the application. And it delivered a great success. Once we started focusing on the two types of requirements, the results were great. By all measurements, DNN 6.0 was the best release we've ever had. We counted downloads, community activity. We counted media, printed media, online media, social media. We almost counted the number of high fives in the office, and by all measurements, it was the best release ever. So now let's talk about 7.0. How many of you have downloaded the CTPs? A few. How about the beta? We released a beta on Friday with 3 or 4 people. That's good, because you're going to see these probably for the first time. Well, after the keynote, I mean, showed a little bit, but you're going to see a lot more right now. When we started working on 7.0, initially it was not called 7.0. It was called 6.3. We're currently working on the 6.2x. We actually released 6.2.4 yesterday, and we started working on 6.3. But 6.3 didn't feel right. It didn't match the way we were feeling about the software. It didn't match our excitement, or emotions, or ambitions, and what we wanted to do with the software in the next release. So we said, you know what, it can't be 6.3. 6.3 doesn't paint the right picture. Let's make it a 7.0. And we talked to the team, we talked to our management team, and they said, you know what, that's fine, make it a 7.0. And we're going to give you just one single requirement, one very easy to understand requirement. Make 7.0 the best release ever. That's it. So we thought about it, and we said, you know what? Challenge accepted. We're going to do it. We're going to make 7.0 the best release ever. But when you work on a project like DNN that has been around for many years, it has had many successful releases, it has a large community, it's the biggest CMS in the .NET, in the Microsoft ecosystem. It's much easier said than done to make this the biggest release ever. So it's not just about sitting at your desk with a pencil in your teeth and think hard. It's not about asking the developers to put an extra hour every day, because they've been doing it all along. There has been people thinking really hard about the features in the past as well. So you have to do a lot more. And there's one video I saw like a month ago, that kind of describes some of what we did. When Apple released the iPhone 5, I know that not all of you are Apple fans. But we do have to recognize that they build great products, they have enjoyed great success, and there are many things that they're doing right. So when they released the iPhone 5, there was this video, one of the promotional videos. It's Jonathan Ive is talking about the design and the manufacturing process of the iPhone 5. And what he said is that when they finished the design, the team said, that is not doable. This is beyond what we can do. So he said, well, if this is beyond what we can do, then we have to change the way we do things. We have to change the manufacturing process. We have to change the way we've been doing things so far. So that's what we did at .NET. If we want to make 7.0 the best release ever, we cannot keep doing things exactly the same way we were doing in the past. So we have to give a really, really big step back and look at the whole picture. We looked at the software industry, how it has been evolving, all the different eras that have happened in the software industry. And the latest, sorry, is it okay? Something happened here. In the last few years, people pay a lot of attention to the look and feel, and to the flows, and to the usability, and to software that is easy to use. People are no longer okay with ugly software. So building good software, building software that is easy to learn and easy to use and looks pretty, is a process. It's not just about asking the designer to make pretty pictures. So what we did is we came up with the requirements. We decided what we wanted the software to do. We talked to the UI, to our UI designers. We came up with a design. We passed it to UX. We designed the flows and the interaction with the software. Once we're comfortable with the interaction and the UI and everything, we passed that to the development team who did the implementation. So we had to make big changes to bring 7.0 to you guys. So there is a lot of new functionality in 7.0. Today I'm gonna show you some of the features you're gonna be using the most. I'm not gonna show you everything. There's other sessions that are gonna be covering the features that I'm not gonna get into, like the Web API. I'm not gonna demo the Web API. I'm not gonna show you the new SharePoint connector. Make sure that you go to Ryan Morgan's presentation. The new SharePoint connector is really, really cool. And what else? SharePoint connector, Active Directory, some of the platform enhancements. So I'm going to focus on the things that you're going to be dealing with on pretty much on a daily basis. So I'm going to start with the demo. Any questions, comments so far before I start with the demo? OK, good. OK, so when you install .NET from the web platform installer, or you copy your files in your system and you run .NET, this is the first thing you're going to see. This is a new installer, the new installation experience. In the past, we used to have the typical custom and auto options. Auto was pretty simple. It was not pretty, but it was simple. You would just click a button, you would install everything with the default settings, and you would end up with a 5-foot-long log of red text that was pretty useless. Because if everything worked well, you don't need to see all those logs. Then we had the typical and custom that were fairly technical, somewhat confusing, difficult to follow for new users. So we needed to simplify the installation experience, and at the same time, we didn't want to take away functionality for advanced users. So while we simplified the experience to the point that you can install the product by entering your password twice, you can still create a custom installation using this process. And the reason why we decided to put a big effort on the installer is because we want to drive more adoption into the product. I remember I was watching this documentary a few months ago about some ants, how ants can work together. When you have a large number of ants, they could build amazing things. Like they were showing something they built. It was similar to the Chinese wall. So if ants can do that when they have enough ants, if we have a much bigger community, we can build something even greater than what we have today. So we have 400 people here this time. We maybe want to have 4,000 next year. So we want to drive adoption, so there are better open source modules, there's better commercial modules, and the platform becomes more cost effective for all of us. So now I'm going to show you here. I'm going to just enter my password twice, uninstall the product. If you're an advanced user, and if you want to create a custom installation, there are 3 ways of having a custom installation. One is that first screen is reading the values from a file called the .NET.install.config file. It loads that information. Once you make the changes on that first page, goes right into that file, and then this screen is going to read the values from that file and do the installation. So one option is you can manually change that file, the .NET.install.config, so that you can create a an installation with by configure the SMTP. You can register your license if you're using one of the paid versions. You can add modules. You can change the template. You can do anything you want. So one option is you modify the file manually. The second option is you can create your own form that writes into the file and then sends the user into this screen, and then it's going to run the installation based on the changes on that file. And once I get into the product, I'm going to show you the third option. So now in this screen and the last one, you're going to start seeing some of the changes in the form patterns and the new controls. So we have a new progress bar here. It's really nice. So you put your mouse over and it tells you the progress. You get this nice dark gray pop-up that tells you the percentage. You can see the step-through bar, some of the grouping. We have this gray shading for groups. We completely redid the default.css. That has been a bit of a problem for developers and designers for many years. It's something that has been growing organically without enough control and enough planning, so it was a little messy. So we cleaned it up because we want to have if we want to build something much better, much nicer, we need a very strong foundation. So it was necessary for us to clean up default.css. OK, so my installation just completed. It finished in, what is it, 70-something seconds? 79 seconds. So if you take the time that it takes for you to enter your password twice and for the installation to run, it takes about, on my computer, right now I'm running on my computer, it took about 100 seconds. So less than 2 minutes to have a website up and running. That's pretty cool, isn't it? And if we run some tests on more powerful servers in the office, and we were able to install the product in less than 20 seconds. So that's a pretty big improvement from the previous versions. It's a lot easier, a lot prettier, a lot faster, a lot more efficient. So now I'm going to go and click this button, and I'm going to visit my website. The first time you launch a website, it's going to take a few seconds because it's still doing some configuration and loading things. And once it launches, I'm going to show you the third option for creating custom installations. Just give me one sec. I forgot to take my notes out. OK, so the first time you launch your website, you're going to see, well, right now the resolution is pretty small, but this is a pop-up that is centered in the screen. Just the projector has a pretty low resolution. It's a pop-up. One of the changes you're going to see is in the previous versions, when you installed .NUC, you had two home pages. You had the getting started page that would work as a home page, and then you have another home page. So that doesn't quite reflect a real-life website. So that we wanted to change that. We want to make something that, and in the end, one of the other problems is that most people would go and delete that getting started page because that's something you cannot have in your website, and there was no way of coming back to it if you needed some information from there. So in this case, we made it a pop-up that you can come back with later if you need some of this information. So in this pop-up, you're going to see. So we don't have the final videos yet because we're not ready. We're not done with 7.0. So we're going to have a few videos that show you what is new and some of the basics about .NUC. We have links to some of the community sections in .NUC if you want to find answers or if you want to submit your ideas. You can go to the community exchange or the community voice. And we also have these advanced settings. That is for advanced users. I said there was 3 ways of having custom installations. So one was to modify the file manually. The second one was to create a form that writes into that file and then run the installer. And the third way is to come, once you finish the installation, you come to this screen, and here you can start configuring the containers and skins, SMTP, language packs, all the options that used to fall under the custom installation and typical installation, they're here for you to use. So we didn't take any functionality away from the advanced users, but we made it really, really easy for the new users to have a website ready. So I'm going to close this, and once you close that, you're going to see the first thing you're going to see is the new skin and template. So we changed the skin. The .NET skin was a good-looking skin. It was a good good reusable skin, but it was not using the latest UI UX trends like this one. This is much cleaner. It is much nicer. The skin by itself is made in different shades of gray. That makes it very generic, so it can be reused by many of you. And that also the fact that it's not too colorful means that if you reuse that skin, your content is what is going to get the attention of the user. It's not all the different colors, it's your content, and that's what we want. So in here, you're going to find, we made a small business website, so we only have 4 pages. So you can see a banner rotator. I'm gonna go to view mode. So when you are, well, I'll get to that. I'm not going to get to that right now. So you can see a banner rotator, some products, so people can see how you can show products in this, different products and the products in the screen. A little bit about the company and some of us here. If you don't know a lot of the .NET team, you can see them here. Some of the services, so you can see one very professional way of displaying products or services, and then a form to contact us. So this is a new skin. How do you like it so far? Do you like it better than Dark Knight? That's good. Good. OK. So now I'm going to show you probably my favorite part of the new UI UX, which is the control panel. We completely redid the control panel. Before, we used to have that gray bar. You put your mouse over, and it would show you all the different options. Like, it would show you absolutely everything. Sometimes it was hard for the users to find the things they were looking for. So we decided to change that. And so right now, if you go to admin, you're going to see 3 tabs. So you have the basic settings, advanced settings, and your bookmarks. So we grouped things, so it becomes easier for people to remember where they have to go. It's easier for people to associate functions that should go together. And it's easier for new users to learn how to use the system. That's how we broke the functionality in 2 different areas, basic and advanced. And on top of that, we created these the bookmarks, because as a user, you're not going to use 100% of the features all the time. You have people play different roles in the organization, and there are certain actions that they're going to be doing more often. So in here, for example, I cannot see very well. In here, I'm going to add to my bookmarks, I'm going to add, I don't know, site settings. And from the advanced settings, I'm going to add site wizard. So when I come to my bookmarks, now I have those 2 things. And the bookmarks are at the user level, so every user can have his own bookmark. So now you can, as a user, you can customize .NET based on the actions that you do more often. So if those are the 2 things that I'm going to be doing with the system, I no longer need to go through the control panel and find the 2 things from everything else that is being shown to me. I just go to that. To my bookmarks. The host is organized in the same way. We have I think I'm getting some echo. The host is organized in the same way. We have the basic settings, advanced, and bookmarks. So from the host settings, I'm going to add some things I'm going to be using later in this presentation. I'm going to add the site management and site groups. So now my control panel is customized to my users. So in the admin, I have these 2 things. In host, I have site management and site groups. On the tools, now we have the upload file, so you can upload a file from any page, anywhere in the system. You don't have to go to the admin section and upload files from there. You can upload files from anywhere. Then we have the help. We have the online help. It takes you to the part in .NET.com that shows the online help. And then we have these, I think right now it's install wizard. That's gonna change that. We didn't have time to change the label. It's gonna be called advanced settings. So when you click on this link, it's gonna take you back to that initial page that we showed you when you first installed the product. So if you wanna find a place where all the advanced settings are, this is a really good shortcut. You click on that button, you come here, and then you can start working on your advanced settings. Then this is the modules. I'm going to come back to the modules because I'm going to add a few modules that I'm going to need later for the presentation. But we have similar options than before. They add new module, add existing module, and find more modules that takes you to the store where you can buy commercial modules, and you can also download open source modules. Then we have these pages, everything that has to do with adding pages, copy pages, and import. So I'm going to add a page. I'm going to add 2 pages that I'm going to need in the last part of the demo. So I'm going to add one that is going to be called HTML. HTML, because I'm going to add some HTML modules there when I show you the. I'm going to leave all the defaults. So here's my new page, and then I'm going to add one more. This is going to be called modules. By the way, these are, right now they're showing full size, but they're pop-ups that are sent in the screen. It's just the resolution. As you can see, we also changed the pop-ups. Now we changed the handles to close and to maximize. We removed that gray bar that was a little invasive. Now it's much cleaner than it used to. Once you start playing with the software, navigating through the software, you're going to see how pretty much everything changed. There's hardly anything that stayed the same. So now I'm going to go back to modules. So this is one of the coolest things. So I'm going to add a module. See, now instead of just having that drop-down, now you have this bar that shows you the modules that you have available to use. And when you put your mouse over a module, it changes the color in blue so you know what modules you're targeting. And you have your categories here at the top. The categories are completely customizable. Some of my, this is not sized properly. Okay, this is a bit of a pain, but okay. So we have the categories here. They're customizable. You can add and remove categories. You can move modules from one category to the other one, so you can customize that as well. So from here, for example, right now I have just one HTML module. I'm going to select all categories. When I select all categories, that HTML module goes away, and all the new category just nicely slides into the screen. And then here you can scroll horizontally until you find the module you're looking for. So I'm going to add an HTML. I'm going to go back to here to my common, and I'm going to add an HTML module. So another thing that we added is we added drag and drop from the control panel into the page. So from here, I can grab an HTML module. I can start dragging it, and you can see how we give you that feedback. We show you that gray rectangle that says you are holding an HTML module, and you're about to add it to the page. When you put your mouse over the page, we show you where you can drop your module, where your module is going to fall. So you can put it in any of the available panels in your skin. So in this case, I'm going to put it. Oh, I didn't put it anywhere. I lost it. So I'm going to add it. Oh, here. I'm going to put it there. I'm going to add another module. I can put this module above or below the other one. I'm going to put it on top. So I have 2 modules. So I'm going to come back and edit the content of these modules. I'm just going to finish showing you the control panel. Yes?
Can you add bottom modules to columns that were in the bookmarks?
To the bookmark? No, that's a really cool idea. Yeah, I'll remember it. Yeah, it's a cool idea for 7.1. OK, so that was pages. Now we have this part where we show you everything related to users, adding new users, managing users, and managing your roles. So now you have all the different options very well organized from your control panel. And the last option you have in the control panel is this. OK, this. Oh, better. This resolution is not working so well because it's pretty small. So here we have by default, you're going to be, when you log into your system, by default, you're going to be in view mode. Even though you logged into the system, you're going to be in view mode. The reason is because as a user, when you go to your website, you're not creating content every time. There are certain times that you edit content, but most of the time you're navigating through your site. For example, when I go to .nuke.com, I create content probably once a month. I don't need all the overhead of loading all the edit controls into my UI. I don't need all the things that take away that clean impression of my site, what my users are looking at. So we are by default in edit mode, and in view mode, and you can switch that by going here and clicking edit this page, or by selecting a module and dragging to a page. When you do one of those actions, we're going to switch you into edit mode. So you have to go on and click the edit mode. Under here, you have all the different options for the page. You can lock the view mode or the edit mode. You can go to the mobile preview if you're creating a mobile website. You can get into your page settings, appearance, permissions, export page, and delete page. So that is the control panel. As you can see, almost everything changed. It's much cleaner, much better organized. Now I'm going to show you the next thing I'm going to show is the action panel, the module actions. So when you are in edit mode, like right now, I have my 2 HTML modules, and in 6.0, we introduced a manage button. So when you put your mouse over into a module, you would get this manage button. You click on it, and then you get a mega menu style menu that shows you all the different options. So we broke those options into 3 again, so that it's easier for you guys to distinguish between all the different actions. We have the edit actions, the settings, and the move. So I'm going to change the name of my module so I can differentiate between the two. Let me call module 1. So here, while I'm navigating through the site, you're going to see some of the new form patterns. Actually, this is one of my favorite controls, the date picker. It's very clean. It's much nicer than the previous one. So I have module 1, and I'm going to change the settings of my other module too. No. Module 2. OK, so another option that we have for when you're working with modules is you can move modules in your page. So I used to have my module 1 on the top. Now it's at the bottom. I can put it back. So you can very easily move your modules around to modify your content. So now I'm gonna make I'm gonna create some content. I'm gonna add some content to my HTML modules. I'm just gonna copy content from here. So it's the typical lorem ipsum. Another thing you're going to notice when you're creating content is we modify the text editor. It is now, like the rest of the system, it's made more generic. It's made in different shades of gray, so it's not invasive to you. Before, we used to have many different colors in the toolbar, and that kind of interferes with the visual effect of when you're creating content. We want you to think of your site and your content without the distractions of all the other different colors. It was like trying to design something inside of a candy store when you have so many things around you that are changing the visual effect of your content that your user is not going to see. So we try to make it much cleaner. So I'm just going to copy this, and I'm going to save. Now I have some content, and I'm going to modify the content of my other module. Oh. OK, so I have my 2 modules with content. And I'm going to show you, before I get into the new HTML, which is another of my favorite features, I'm going to show you the next feature, which is module sharing. This is a feature that has been in the roadmap for a while. It has been requested by many of you in the past. This is the ability of .nuke is a multi-tenant environment. That means you can have a single .nuke installation, and you can have multiple sites under the same installation. And there are some situations where people need a group of sites to be, they're related, and they share users, they share content. So we're allowing you guys now to to reuse your content from one website and use it into another website. That makes the system more cost effective. And more importantly, one of the main use cases for that feature is going to be for mobile websites. There is a very famous designer, his name is Jacob Nielsen. When he talks about mobile websites, he says that your desktop users and your mobile users are different. You should not give them the same experience, the same content, the same flows. Your desktop users are going to be most of the time sitting in an office with 3 or 4 hours in front of the computers. Your mobile users are not in an office, they're usually on the go. They are at a grocery store, at the doctor's office, at a restaurant, walking their dogs, going for a smoke, sometimes driving. They're in a completely different location, and they're multitasking. Mobile users are multitaskers. They're always shopping something, at the same time, they're doing something with their phones. That means they have a task at hand that has a really high sense of urgency. I'm trying to buy a PC, and I want to check a price. I don't have 2 hours to sit with my phone to find the price. I have less than 5 minutes. Mobile users use their phones about 24 times a day in 5-minute increments. So you have 5 minutes to give your user the same information. So you cannot treat the two users the same way. The challenge of giving your users both users, your desktop users and your mobile users, a custom experience is the price. It is very expensive to maintain content and maintain two sites. Mostly big companies are the ones that adapt that approach. There's like companies like Amazon, eBay, Groupon. They give that custom experience to both. By us introducing module sharing, we're taking that big price tag off having that custom experience, because now you can reuse your content on both sides. You design your flows for your PC and for your mobile users, and then you can just add the content to the different pages. So you can create your content once, manage it once, work with it only once. So it's like you have the best of both worlds. You are reusing your content you created once, but at the same time you're giving a custom flow and a custom experience to your mobile users. So for these, I'm going to go to host, I'm going to go to my bookmarks, and I'm going to go to site management. I'm going to add a new site. Let me call. Let me just check that I wrote it right. Yeah, demo.mysite.com. That is, I have some entries in my host file, so that's going to redirect to my computer. Demo. That's why I need to make sure I get it right. And I'm going to leave the rest, the default values. It's going to give me a little warning because I haven't configured my SMTP server on my computer. So I'm going to get that warning, and then I'm going to go to my site. OK, so here's my warning. I'm going to click, and it's going to take me to my site. Since this is the first time I launch that other site, it's going to take a few seconds. So I'm going to open another tab here. So I have my two sites side by side. So I'm going to site.com. So that was my first site, is site.com, and my second site is demo.mysite.com. So they're both under the same domain. And I'm going to I have two sites, and after this, I'm going to create a group. So I'm going to put them into a group. So this is my demo site. Since this is the first time I launch it, I'm going to get these advanced settings, this pop-up. That is, if you were not the person installing the software in the first place, you have this option of when you create a new site, you can see that pop-up, you can see that information exists, and you can use it. So I have my two sites. I'm going to go to this. Oh. OK. I'm going to go to my host, my bookmarks, and I'm going to create a group. Create a group. I'm going to call it demo group. Demo, and I'm going to select a master. You can think of this master as You can think of it as a content store. Well, you can share content in all different directions. I like to think of that master as a content store. The reason is because you can, as I said, you can share your content between desktop websites and mobile websites, but you can do a lot more than that. For example, think of the conference. We have the list of speakers in .NET.com. We have the list of speakers in the mobile version of .NET.com. We have the same in .NET World, in the .NET World website, in the mobile version of the .NET World website. So we have the exact same content in 4 different locations. So you can, if you think of the concept of a content store, what you have is a place where your content lives, and then you can distribute to all the different channels. That is a really powerful idea because it's pretty scalable for the future. When you guys start designing websites for TVs, for example, you can have a skin for TVs and just start reusing your content, and you can very quickly have a website for TVs, for Xboxes, for Nintendo's Wii's, for boxes, and for any device you want to target. Okay, so I create a group, and I'm going to select my member site. So I'm going to add my demo site. I'm going to copy users. What that means is I'm going to keep both sites are going to have the same users. So that means you're going to have single sign-on. So you log into one site. If you want to navigate through all of your different sites in that group, you don't have to log in every time. You log in once, and you can navigate through all of your users, all of your sites, as if it was a single site. So I have these site groups. Now, and I create my site, and I put them into a group. So I'm going to go to my demo site, and I'm going to log in. In here, I'm going to add a page. And I'm going to call it HTML. OK, so I have my empty page, and I want to add some modules, some content into my page. So I'm going to go to the modules. In here, I have the options of adding, as I said, new modules, existing modules, or find modules from the store. So I'm going to add an existing module. Now you have more options. In here, I can select the site. I can see. OK, I can select my site. I'm going to select my website, the original website I created, which is my master site. Then I select the page. I'm going to select my HTML page. Oh, I think I added the modules to the wrong page. OK, yeah, that's why. I added the modules to the wrong page. So here they are. Here they are the modules I created in my other site. And I can add them to the page the same way I added new modules. I'm just going to drag them into my page. And now I'm going to add module 2. Module 1. I'm going to put it at the top. So it is that easy. Now I have my 2 sites sharing content. So any changes that I make into my content are going to be reflected on both sides. And I'm going to go here to the settings. I'm going to show you something else. I'm going to go into the permissions. And we have 2 ways of sharing modules. One is view only, which is the default. That means when the admin of the child side is going to have only view permissions. He can only give view permissions to the users. That is, if you want to have control over your content and you don't want anyone to change your content, you're going to share your modules in view only mode, so nobody can change the content. And the other option is you can share them with full permissions, and that means you can collaborate. All the different websites can collaborate in that content. So anyone from any site can make changes to that content, and that will get reflected in all the different sites. Okay, so this was easy, and this is how you share modules, and from then on, you don't have to worry about it. You just manage your content the same way as if you got a single site, and that's it. So the next feature I want to show you is the HTML module. I'm going to make some changes into the settings. The reason why we put a significant effort into the HTML module, and the reason is because from all of the websites, the HTML module accounts for close to 90% of all of the modules. So that is the module that is used by far the most. So we thought that by us putting a significant effort on this module, we're giving you a lot. Because that's something you're going to be using every day. And we added some really cool features. So I'm going to go into. So here's where I have the settings. So I'm saying that my module is shareable. So I can disable that, and then my module would not be shareable. And here's where I say that it's view only. But now I'm going to go into the, oh no, not here. Module settings, and I'm going to enable autosave. That is one feature that I want to show to you. Now we give the ability, now the module can autosave your content every time you make changes. Right now the default value is 10 seconds. So every 10 seconds, the system is going to check if you have made any changes to your content, and it's going to autosave that. So if you're in the middle of some changes, you get a phone call, you go grab some coffee, and just your session expires, you're not going to lose your content. At the same time, we're saving that content in a separate location, so it doesn't get published either. It's saved, but it's not published, because you don't want a half update to go live in your website. So I'm going to leave it as 10 seconds, and I'm going to change the workflow, because there's something else I want to show you. And update. So I'm going to go ahead and make changes to my content. You're going to see, if you look at this section between the main content and the HTML editor, once I make some changes, I'm going to wait a few seconds, and we're going to get this blue information message that says that my content is being saved. So I'm going to just copy the last few words. I know. I'm going to copy that. No, just put it here. Now I'm going to wait a little bit, and we're going to see that blue rectangle. That's going to tell me that my content is being saved. So there it is. It says my changes are being saved. So now if let's say, I don't know, I close my browser by mistake, in a normal scenario, I would lose my changes. My changes would be lost. And it's really painful when you've been working with an HTML module for 25 minutes, half an hour, 45 minutes, and then you lose all of your work. So you're not going to have that problem anymore. So when I come back here, I'm going to go to my modules. I'm going to get into edit mode. Now, when I hit edit, it's going to tell me that there are unsaved changes. So I have the option of discarding the changes or reloading the changes that I had. In this case, I'm going to reload the changes. So here it is. I copied the last few words, so here they are. And I'm going to save this. So now I have this, although it's not. Oh, I forgot to change the workflow. So I'm going to go from direct publish to save draft, replace existing settings. That's why it was published. OK. So I'm going to edit my content. And I'm going to delete. This time I'm going to delete this content I created. And I'm going to save. And I'm going to do the same with this module. I'm going to copy this. And save. Now if I go and check, it tells me that my changes are ready to be published. One of the problems that some organizations have is that when they have a really large website and they have multiple people editing content. Yes, I was talking to someone who, no, it was this morning, I was talking to someone who said that they have about 50 content editors. So it's a real challenge when you have 50 content editors and you have workflow enabled on your site, because you don't have a central location for you to know what modules are ready to be published. So let's say your company goes through an acquisition and you want to put that message out in different parts of your website. You may, if you're not careful enough, you may have a part of your website talking about the new acquisition, and a part of your website is not talking about that at all. So you can give this really poor experience to your users. So to mitigate that problem, we modified, I'm going to go to here now, and then I'm going to add a new module, but now from more categories. Here. So I don't know if you're familiar with these modules. It's a module that has existed in the past. We just added a few other features on top of this module. It's called My Modules. It allows you to filter modules by page, by type, or both. You can also sort depending on any of these headers. You can change the settings or edit the content of your modules from here. So right now I'm going to select all my HTML modules. So it's going to show me all of my modules. And I want to, from here, I can see the workflow, I can see the type, and I'm going to order by status now. So, oh, there are. So I have two modules that are ready to be published. So I know as a content editor, the person who, or the webmaster, the person who is responsible for the site, now I know there are two modules that haven't been published with content with changes that haven't been published. So from here I can say, okay, you know what? I want to see what those changes are. So I can come here, and sometimes it's not going to be. Sometimes it's obvious what the changes are. Sometimes it won't be. So you have two options. You can come to the content preview, and you can switch between versions. But sometimes that is not good enough yet. So we added this really cool feature. So now I'm going to select. I want to see what changed from version 1 to version 2. Oh, here it is. So my content, I have my content from version 1 and version 2 side to side. The changes are highlighted in green. That means it is new content. If content is deleted, now I'm going to show you. I'm going to go from version 2 to version 3. If content gets deleted, it's highlighted in red. So you know that content is deleted. And if you publish your changes, that content is going to go away. We have two more options here. We have this orange. That orange appears usually when you change styles or when you change certain properties in HTML. For example, if you change the weight of the font, it's going to get highlighted in orange. So you know that it's the same content, but it changed. And we also give you the option of comparing in HTML mode. So you can compare in design mode, and you can compare the HTML and look at the HTML tags. Okay, so I looked at my changes, and I'm happy with my changes. So now I'm gonna publish my content. I have two ways of publishing. Question?
Yeah. How many of these features are available in community?
Community. Well, all the UI. Let me just check. From the ones I've shown to you, the installer is in all versions. The UI UX changes are in all versions. Module sharing and the HTML changes are going to be in the commercial versions. So from here, I'm going to select my two modules, scroll, and I'm going to publish my modules. So now I can search. I'm going to search my modules. So then I go on and find my modules, and I can see that they're now published. So now all of my content is up to date. OK, so I'm going to go back to, these are all the features I wanted to show to you today.